I've never spoken publicly about this before, and while I am a public speaker by profession, this is difficult for me, so I wrote things down that I want to say, and I hope you'll bear with me. I never thought I would be addressing a group like this. In the beginning, it's hard to talk about what brought us here together today. For my wife and I, it was the loss of our son, James Anthony Luff Jr. I also never thought that I would cradle the lifeless body of my 24-year-old son. Unfortunately, I was the one to find him after a frantic search. He left a note that explained why he took such drastic actions, and for that, I'm eternally grateful, as we are at peace and we have turned this tragic event into something that can be used in a positive manner as a way to help guide other families through the grief, the shame, agony, and processes caused. I used the word shame. I felt shameful that my son took his own life. I wondered, as you have, did I miss the signs? Was there something that I could have done? Why did my child commit suicide? How did I fail so miserably as a parent to help him? Have you felt that? Of course you have. We all have. If you've recently lost a loved one, I encourage you to get professional counseling. I attended professional counseling week after week for a solid year before I was finally able to cope with the loss of our son. Mental help for survivors is such an important part of the healing process. It's like learning to live all over again. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to ask you to do something that may seem uncomfortable or maybe even disrespectful, but it's not. I want you to see how many people have experienced that same tragedy that I have, that you have. I could ask you to raise your hand, but instead, if you have lost a child to suicide, I want you to know that you are not alone. In fact, there are many survivors here today. So if you lost a child, I want our children to hear us in heaven right now. I want them to know that they are not forgotten, that we are here today to remember them. Let me hear you clap in celebration of your child's life and the time on earth that you got to be their parent. You are not alone. I want to challenge each of you here today to help another family through crisis. It's an awful situation for a family to go through. The processes that we go through need guidance. You need to tell people what to expect. I don't need to read my notes for this. For the first 30 days after someone dies, everybody supports you, checks on you every day to see how you're doing. But when you get to that 90-day mark, nobody wants to mention it because they're afraid of ripping off the scab. They're afraid of opening up new wounds. You need to tell people around you the only thing that you have left of your loved one is memories. So if you think of something that's a fun memory, share it with me because that's all I've got left. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Guide a family through the funeral process. Guide them through the process of grief and acceptance, and do it in honor of your loved one. There were so many people who stepped up to help us in ways never imaginable. Lots of people brought food. Lots of people came to our home to visit. Lots of people contributed to our son's funeral cost. We even had a friend that came and emptied our tan garbage can because it was overflowing from the number of people that have come to visit us. When a family experiences a death in the family, we like to show up, my wife and I, with other essentials that people don't even know they need. Paper plates, plasticware, disposable cups, paper towels, napkins, and even serving-size utensils. And don't forget tissues. Lots and lots of tissues. I encourage you to do the same. Everyone will bring food and drinks. Be the one that brings the other necessary stuff. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought. If you see someone who's going through rough times, ask them, are you thinking of hurting yourself? The answer that you're hoping for is, Lord, no. If they say yes, help them find resources immediately, including the suicide hotline. Drive them to the Mary Kay Shell Center or call the Kern County Mental Health Crisis Hotline. Do not leave them alone until professional help is obtained. Let's save a life today.